what technique do you recommend for overheads, I guess drum overheads in live sound? And I think that that gets to what Gabe was saying. It's like, it's even more complicated because in live sound, you're not even trying to get the same job done with your microphones every single show. It's even more dependent on what you're hearing from the drum kit itself and then what you're trying to reinforce. So for me, overheads and live sound, if you're in a small room and the drums are already too loud, so much to the point that you can't even get the vocal above them, maybe don't use overheads at all. And then when I have seen overheads used in live sound, it tends to be for really large venues like festivals or things where the drummer's on stage and just having the snare mic, the kick mic, and maybe even I don't know, tom mics. You're like, well, where are the cymbals? I want, it's for me, it's like in the studio, like downstairs, I've got overheads on my drums, and the role they play down there is to capture the drum kit, and then I use the close mics to augment it.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I think in live sound, it can be used for that, depending on the venue, but more often I've seen it not so much as overhead mics, but as cymbal mics, you know? So you've got the individual elements of the drum kit mic'd, but then maybe you put a hi-hat mic, and then maybe you put a left
Mm-hmm.
and right cymbal mic, and then that just helps get the full picture to the people who aren't close to the drum kit itself. I don't know.
Yeah,
But I do
yeah,
think it depends, just like you said.
it definitely depends. And the other thing that's important to remember there is, in some cases, with like large venues, especially, um, you don't have the same stage volume that you do in small venues. So if you've got lots of people packed tightly together, and you put overhead mics on the drums, you're basically just putting up room mics for the guitar amp and the bass amp and all the other things that you didn't even maybe want to put mics on suddenly are mic'd through the drums as bleed, and now you have to figure that out. So it can be a real mess. I don't think they're prescriptive or necessary in a live setting,
Yep.
especially in large venues. You can get away with more, but a small
And
club,
the same commenter came back to say that 70% of shows are outdoor. So even more so, that sound it has somewhere to go, which is kind of
yeah,
nice. It's not just
yeah,
reflecting around. And I think that means that the further you get that mic from the drum kit as a source, if you're inside a closed place, a lot of the other instruments on stage are going to be hitting that mic too.
hmm,
And the distance you can get away from the drum kit without having excessive bleed in an enclosed space is less than you could get. You can kind of push the limits more if you're outside. Um,
yeah,
so yeah, and of course, with anything live sound, then you add in feedback, and it just gets even more. It depends, but it depends, and that's what makes this stuff fun, right?
right, right.
Yeah.